2 weeks before Christmas, my world broke. I was on my couch, scrolling Kickstarter for inspiration. Then I saw it. The band, End Anxiety. Revolutionize your life. My blood turned to ice. The video showed my prototype, the one I kept in a velvet pouch. The sleek silicone band, the soft pulsing light. The narrator used lines from my personal design journal. The campaign had already raised $850,000. The creator was listed as Wyatt Ford, my older brother. I stared at the screen until the pixels blurred. He hadn't just copied my idea. He had packaged my entire soul and was selling it for holiday cash. The device on the screen wasn't his. It was mine. I drove to my parents' house through a blur of angry tears. Wyatt was already there, basking in the glow of the living room television. He had his laptop open, showing our dad. "See? I told you I was onto something big this year," he said, his voice booming with pride. I didn't say a word. I just walked over and slammed my phone down on the coffee table, the Kickstarter page glowing up at them. "What is this?" My voice was a strained whisper. Wyatt glanced at it, then back at me. He didn't look surprised. He looked amused. "That's execution, Elise," he said, leaning back with a smug grin. "You had a cute little hobby project. I saw a business. Ideas are cheap, sis. Making them real is everything." My mother stood up quickly. "Elise, honey, calm down. Let's talk about this nicely. He's your brother." My father just stared at the impressive dollar amount on the screen, a faint smile on his face. They weren't seeing my horror. They were seeing his success. My betrayal was just drama ruining their evening. The theft was so complete it took my breath away. He didn't just steal a sketch from a notebook. He stole 3 years of my life. Every late night I spent teaching myself circuit design. Every weekend sacrificed to learn 3D modeling software. Every single dollar I saved from my paycheck spent on prototyping materials instead of new clothes or vacations. I had shared my deepest dream with him over Thanksgiving, trusting him. He had listened, nodded, and then copied every file from my laptop when I went to help our mom with pie. He stole my vulnerability and turned it into his product. Let me tell you about me. My name is Elise. I am a junior product designer at Novation Labs. My job is the unglamorous, crucial work of making things actually work. I take an engineer's concept and figure out how to manufacture it. I solve problems no one thinks about until they happen. I am quiet, thorough, and precise. My brother Wyatt is a salesman. He sells commercial printers. He is all charm and big promises. My family always praised his big personality and called me reliable. They never understood that my reliability was a superpower. It was how I built real things. Christmas that year was a special kind of torture. Wyatt held court at the dinner table, talking about his vision and his disruptive launch. Relatives toasted him. My aunt said, "Your brother is such an entrepreneur." I sat there, silently screaming inside. My own creation was the star of the show, and I was a stagehand, invisible. When I tried to speak, my mom shook her head slightly. The message was clear: don't make a scene. Don't spoil his moment. That night, my heart broke. Then it turned to stone. I was done crying. He wanted a fight over my own work? I would give him one he wasn't prepared for. I went back to work after the holiday, moving like a robot. But my mind was racing. I knew Wyatt. He was impulsive. To capitalize on the Christmas buzz and meet his promised shipping date, he would have rushed. He wouldn't have painstakingly redesigned my files. He would have sent them straight to a factory in China. That was his mistake. My prototype files were not clean production files. They were personal. And I had left my mark all over them, a habit born from paranoia and pride. You see, I was always afraid of this exact thing. So, as I built Aura, I hid my signature. In the code that controlled the device, there was a function for the LED light pattern. Inside that function, I left a comment. It looked like random notes, ES1123 _ Aura _ REF. To anyone else, it was garbage. To me, it was a fingerprint. S for Elise Simmons. 11/23 for November 23rd, the day the first prototype came alive. More importantly, in the 3D model file for the band itself, I had etched my initials, yes, in tiny, recessed text on the inside curve. It was invisible once the band was molded, buried in the silicone. I needed help, but Wyatt had all the money. At work, I finally broke down in front of my boss, Arjun. I showed him my design notebooks, filled with dated entries. I showed him my prototype. Then I showed him Wyatt's Kickstarter. Arjun's face grew serious. This is intellectual property theft, Elise. This is serious. He didn't just offer sympathy. He made a call. He connected me with Sophia, the fierce IP lawyer his firm used sometimes. She listened to my story, looked at my evidence, and agreed to take my case on contingency. She believed we could win. Sophia explained her strategy, and it was genius. If we move now, he'll just cancel the campaign, refund the money, and walk away. He'll claim it was a misunderstanding. We need to let him get in deep. Let him manufacture. Let him receive the goods. When the stolen items are physically here and he's on the hook to thousands of backers, then we strike. It meant waiting. It meant watching his success grow. The plan was a slow, legal trap. The waiting was its own kind of agony, but for the first time, I had hope. January came. Wyatt's Kickstarter closed with over $1.3 million. He rented a small warehouse unit. He posted update videos talking about quality control and fulfillment dreams. I saved every post, every boast. At work, I channeled all my anger into my projects. My designs were sharper, my solutions more elegant. Arjun noticed. He started inviting me to important client meetings. My professional self, crushed by my brother, was being rebuilt piece by piece in a place that valued substance over show. In mid-January, the shipment arrived. Wyatt posted a video from his warehouse, a big box open in front of him. He pulled out a finished comband, holding it up to the camera with a triumphant smile. "They're here," he announced. Seeing my design in his hand, with his logo on the box, made me feel sick. But it also meant the trap was sprung. The stolen goods were on American soil. Sophia's team moved instantly. They filed legal papers for an emergency injunction. They drafted a cease and desist letter that was a work of art. The letter didn't just go to Wyatt. It went to Kickstarter, to his payment processor, and to the warehouse companies storing his units. It clearly laid out the theft. It had photos of my original prototype next to his product. And it revealed the smoking gun, the hidden signatures. It stated that every single comband in that warehouse contained my digital and physical fingerprint, proving I was the true creator. It demanded all money and all inventory be frozen immediately. Wyatt called me an hour later. His voice was high-pitched with panic. "Elise, what is this legal garbage? Are you crazy? You'll destroy me." I stayed silent, letting him unravel. "They're going to lock the warehouse. The backers will eat me alive." I took a slow breath. "You should have thought about that before you stole 3 years of my life, Wyatt. Talk to your lawyer." I hung up. The sound of his fear was the first peace I'd felt in months. The legal gears turned quickly. Kickstarter froze all the funds. The warehouse complied with the injunction, sealing the units. Backers on the campaign page began to panic. "Where's our product? Is this a scam?" Wyatt's perfect facade cracked under the pressure. He hired a lawyer, but what could they say? Sophia had a forensic tech expert buy a com band from a late backer channel. He found the ES1123 code in minutes. Using a special magnifying lens, he found the tiny ES etched inside the band. The evidence was undeniable. A settlement meeting was set for late January. Wyatt's lawyer offered me an insulting deal, a 10% royalty on future sales. Sophia laughed. She presented our terms: 100% of the Kickstarter profits, ownership of all 5,000 manufactured units, a public correction stating I was the designer, and the transfer of the Comband trademark to me. It was total victory. Wyatt refused. He was still the salesman, believing he could talk his way out of anything. We went to court for the injunction hearing. The courtroom was cold. Wyatt had to sit and listen as the forensic expert explained to the judge how my signature was embedded in the product's core. The judge used a magnifying glass to look at the band himself. His mouth was a tight line. He granted the full injunction, ordering all units held and all money frozen until a full trial. Wyatt walked out of that room a different man. Smaller. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a pale, stunned fear. The story leaked to a tech blog. The headline read, "Kickstarter darling, Comband, accused of being stolen from creator's sister." It went viral in the tech world. Backers were furious, feeling cheated. My parents, finally understanding this was a real legal disaster, called me. Their tone was different now, worried, asking what this meant for Wyatt, for the family. Their shift was satisfying, but it also hurt. They only believed me when the law confirmed my story. Faced with a public trial and financial ruin, Wyatt surrendered. He signed Sophia's agreement in early February. Everything became mine. The money, the inventory, the trademark. I stood alone in a small storage unit I'd rented, surrounded by stacks of boxes containing 5,000 pieces of my stolen dream. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt exhausted and deeply sad. I touched one of the boxes. My creation had come home, but it was scarred by the journey. At work, Arjun called me into a meeting with the company founders. "Elise, we've followed your situation," one said. "The diligence you showed in protecting your work, the strategic patience you exercised, that's exceptional problem solving. That's leadership." They offered me a promotion to senior product designer and put me in charge of a new internal incubator for employee ideas. My personal war had proven my professional worth in the most concrete way possible. I didn't just take the Comband back. I made it better. I used my own money and new skills to fix the cheap components Wyatt had used to save money. I refined the design. I rebranded it truthfully as Aura by Elise Simmons. I reached out to the original backers. I explained what happened and offered them a choice: the new, improved Aura at a major discount or a full refund. Over 70% chose Aura. They wanted the real thing from the real creator. Their support healed something in me. Aura found its place. A wellness website wrote a feature about it, telling the story of its creation honestly. Sales were modest, but real and growing. Wyatt, meanwhile, was finished. The scandal was the first thing that came up when you searched his name. He lost his sales job. He eventually moved to another state. The golden child was tarnished. Our family dinners are quieter now, filled with a heavy silence where his boasting used to be. Wyatt's final downfall was public and permanent. A documentary team contacted him. They were making a series about failed Kickstarters. Desperate for any good press, he agreed to be interviewed. They interviewed me too. The episode showed his confident launch video, then cut to the evidence: the code strings, the etched initials under a microscope, my tearful explanation. It showed him, deflated and making excuses. It aired on a streaming service. His humiliation was national. There was no path back for him. My rise, however, was just beginning. After I spoke at a tech conference about protecting intellectual property, a woman approached me. She was a venture capitalist. She said, "I'm not just investing in your product. I'm investing in you." She funded my innovation incubator at Novation. I hired 2 amazing engineers. We are now developing a new, more advanced device. The original Aura prototype sits in a glass case in my new office. It's not a symbol of what was taken. It's a monument to what can't be stolen, my own mind. The following New Year's Eve, I was home alone. The city sparkled outside my window. It was quiet. There was no noise, no empty hype. There was just a deep, solid satisfaction. Wyatt tried to give me the worst Christmas of my life by stealing my future. Instead, he gave me the gift of my own strength. The new year didn't feel like a fresh start. It felt like a solid foundation. They can steal your design, your code, your moment. But they can never steal the resilience it took to build it. That hidden signature was mine forever. And so was everything I built next.